For the state of Michigan, when performing your skills, all of your supplies will be displayed on the table, all the supplies that you would need for that particular skill. So to begin, you would always sanitize your hands, cover your hands thoroughly, and then continue rubbing until dry. The skill that I will be demonstrating is emptying out the urinary drainage bag while a person is in isolation. So you'll need 2 paper towel barriers, 2 alcohol preps, your isolation gown, of course gloves, graduate cylinder in which to empty your urine in, a linen bag for your graduate cylinder once you've cleaned it, and then your measuring form for your urine output. Okay, so we come to the residence room. Outside the room, an isolation room, you have your isolation card where all of their supplies that we would need to care for them in isolation are found. So I want to make sure that I begin by sanitizing my hands and applying my PPEs. So this person is in contact isolation, so the only thing I will need are gloves and gown. So we always apply the gown first. Remember, when we're tying the gown, make sure that it overlaps. And then our gloves. Want to make sure that the cuff of the sleeve is tucked inside my gloves. Okay, I'm ready to enter into the isolation room. I have all my supplies. Knock, knock, knock. Come in. Hi, Mrs. Jones. I'm Linda, your CNA, and I'm here to provide, to empty out your urinary drainage bag. Is that okay? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Great. You think it's right. Set one barrier on the floor for my graduate cylinder, and the other one I'm going to set here. How are you, Mrs. Smith? Great. Okay, I'll be here over there in just a minute to take care of your needs. Close the curtains, close the doors. Check my brakes. Yep, and they're on. Okay, Mrs. Jones, just going to work over here for a second. Alrighty. So, open up an alcohol prep and clean around. And then I want to make sure that I do not touch this drainage spout once I've cleaned it. To open up the clamp, you just flick open the clamp like that. And notice that you can move it if you need to, if it gets too close to the edge. So I'm being very careful that I do not touch the drainage spout against the graduate cylinder, or that I touch it. So I have to be careful to protect the tip. And then lift up the urinary drainage bag to empty it into the graduate cylinder. Okay, we'll shake there, replace it back on the bed, and then with my second alcohol prep, I will clean the drainage spout again. Clamp it and then put it back into the little protective cover. I want to make sure that this bag is hanging on the part of the bed that will, when the bed is raised, that the bag will go right along with it so that we don't pull it out. I want to make sure that this loop, this tubing is coiled on the bed. You don't want a dependent loop. And by the way, this is a dependent loop. When it's hanging down like that, it's hard for urine to drain uphill. So you always want to make sure it's coiled. Don't place the tube up underneath the resident's leg, because that will be a source of pressure that can lead to skin breakdown. Okay, Mrs. Jones, I'll be right back. Use this to cover up the urine so we can protect their dignity when we're walking past their roommate. Okay, Mrs. Jones, I'll be right back. I'm going to measure your urine output, clean your equipment, and come right back. Okay, once I'm in the bathroom, I'll put my barrier on the back of the toilet to place my graduate cylinder, because this is her urine and we don't want to transfer her urine to the bathroom. Then I come down to eye level to get the measurements. Eye level, because this has to be, I have to read at the bottom of the meniscus. And so that looks like 350 milliliters. Throw this in the garbage. Tie my bag. Or you put it on the back of the toilet, whatever you have available. There. Empty this into the garbage, into the toilet. Clean paper towel, you turn on my faucet. Throw that away. Clean my equipment. Rinse. And dry. Make sure you touch the inside of the bag and not the outside of the bag with your dirty hands. Take off my gloves. I'm going to be sanitizing my hands, but I will be washing them 20 seconds when I come back to take off my PPEs. Because I'm in isolation, I have to reapply gloves. Because I'm in her bathroom, and everything in this room is considered contaminated. So reapply gloves. The clean paper towel, turn off my faucet. Pick up my barrier. Flush my toilet. And return back to the room. Okay, Mrs. Jones, I'm all done. Put your equipment away. Make sure everything is nice and neat. Alright, brakes are still locked. Linen nice and neat. Call light within reach. Body in good alignment. Bed is at its lowest position. Call personal items are within reach. So is there anything else I can do for you, Mrs. Jones? No, fine. Open up the curtains. Address the neighbor. Is there anything I can do for you, Mrs. No, fine. Well, okay, Mrs. Jones, I'm just going to go into the bathroom and take off my PPEs and wash my hands, and then I'll record your urine output and leave. So if there's nothing else, then I'll see you ladies in 2 hours. Okay, it's now time for me to take off my PPEs. Always gloves come off first, so I pull the gloves off from the palm of my hand, ball that glove up into the glove hand, then place my 2 fingers up underneath the glove and invert the glove inside out and discard. I like to sanitize my hands after I take off my gloves just to be consistent, because I could have gotten my gloves. There could have been a hole in my gloves that could have contaminated my skin. So, sanitize. Alright, now it's time to take off my gown. Top to bottom, I remove the top tie. Bottom tie. And then taking my 2 fingers, I slip my hands up underneath the cuff to protect this hand. Now that this hand is protected, I can touch the outside of this gown to pull off the sleeve. And then I'm just kind of gathering as I am taking it off of my arms. And then making sure both edges are facing one another. I roll it down slowly. Throw it in the garbage. Now I'm ready to wash my hands. Clean paper towel. Turn on my faucet. Make sure it's warm enough so that it kills the germs, but not too hot, so that it'll keep my hands underneath the water. You always start by rinsing your hands off first to remove any bacteria, germs that may be there, and it also creates an environment right to generate a good lather. And then using friction, washing my hands for 20 seconds. So sing happy birthday to you a couple of times, and that will equal 20 seconds. I'm interlacing my fingers, washing my knuckles, cleaning my cuticles, the skin around my nail bed. And then to clean up underneath my fingernails, I can either just scratch my nails up against the palm of my hand to work the soap up underneath my nails. Or I can take one fingernail and clean underneath the rest. You don't need to do both, but at least do one. And then one hand grasp above my wrist to clean my wrist area. And then to rinse, just be careful. You know, ideally, your hands are supposed to be pointing downward, but because my sink is way too shallow, I will come into contact with my sink. So I have to curl my fingers back up and rinse off my hands. Then I'll let the water drain. Do not flick your fingers, because whatever's in the sink can splash up, become aerosolized, and now you're inhaling it. Dry my hands by starting with my fingers first. Both hands. Followed by my hands. Might need to get another paper towel. Get kind of wet. Followed by my wrist. Alright. Next, you get a clean paper towel, turn off the faucet. Do not ball this paper towel up in your hands, just simply throw it away. And you can exit the room. An important part of a CNA's responsibility is to document their measurements. So, Mrs. Jones, and she had 350 milliliters. And then sign your name.